My name is Lisa Sewards and I'm a feature writer for national newspapers and magazines. Feature writing is very different to news reporting. News reporting, you go on a specific story that's happening in the news at the present, and you write short, concise stories about that which are all factual. A feature tends to be an interview or an in-depth look at a subject or a person, and you have a longer space to write it in a national paper or a national magazine. People read features because they want to learn something new, and in the case of the entertainment features, they may want to go and see the film to see if it's any good, what the role the actor plays, what did he gain from that role. They may want to, in the case of a book, go out and buy the book, read about what the book is about. And then in the case of the more technical subjects that sometimes I cover, it's a question of having an insight into that industry and learning something new. I think in the case of a celebrity interview, people want a slice of that celebrity's life and to find out what motivates them, what's happened in their lives, and often we're very interested in the dramatic events that have happened in their lives, what good or bad, and to see how they've coped or overcome those issues. It can't be just talking about their film or just talking about their book. Unless that film or book is incredibly topical, then that's interesting. But to have a celebrity talking entirely in a feature just about their latest project is actually rather boring. You'd need them to say something interesting about their lives or revelatory that make you want to read it. At the forefront of your mind, you always have your audience and what you need to get out of an interview. So just before I interview someone, I'll research about them, read as much as I possibly can about them and the project they're working on. Then I'll work out what I want out of the interview, and that'll be at the forefront of my mind. It may not be the first question I ask, it might even be halfway or towards the end of the interview. You can teach journalism skills, and you can teach people how to write a story, and it's what we call a triangle, whereby you put the most interesting facts at the top and the most interesting things you think you might want to read about at the top, and then you work down to the less interesting information and background about the person you're interviewing. The key ingredient for every feature is to say something new if you can, or if it's saying something that's been written before, to say it in a different way. To somebody who wanted to get into journalism or the media, I'd say get as much work experience as you possibly can with as many different possible publications, and to show just utter commitment and dedication to the job, to be prepared to work all hours, read as widely as possible, come up with ideas for stories that might interest you, and therefore if they interest you, the chances are it will interest the editor or the commissioning editor who commissions stories, and to be proactive. If you're actually chasing your own story and then that person agrees to be interviewed, that's a great thrill. And then there's the adrenaline of writing to a deadline. And the great thing is, when you've written to that deadline, you've done the story, you're on to the next thing. There's no repetition.